Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I'm Tommy Burton, and today's Daily Record is by the great and mighty Chuck Berry. It is Chuck Berry's greatest hits. Now, this particular album came out in 1964, but by using the title Chuck Berry's Greatest Hits, this is pretty much the history of rock and roll contained on a single disc. Like I said, this came out in 64. Chuck Berry was born in 1926. He died in 2017. And anyone who professes to love rock and roll music or the history of rock and roll music, you've got to start with the mighty Chuck Berry. Now, this album, because it's a greatest hits collection, this kind of sums everything up. Roll Over Beethoven, School Days, Rock and Roll Music, Too Much Monkey Business, Johnny B. Good, Oh Baby Doll, Nadine, Maybelline, which was his first major hit, Memphis, Sweet Little 16, 30 Days, and finally Brown Eyed Handsome Man. It is all here on this one album from Chess Records. And I'll show you guys the label there. But Chuck Berry was a huge influence on anybody who has been in rock and roll, notably John Lennon, whose great quote, "If rock and roll had another name, it would be Chuck Berry." Chuck was influential to people like Bob Dylan, Keith Richards, and the Rolling Stones. And again, all of those songs are here. You probably know all these songs. And if not, please stop this video immediately and go listen to Chuck Berry. It all starts with Chuck. Chuck was the first great writer in rock and roll. He was poetic, but he had a sensibility to write lyrics that were concise, but they were poetry. He would talk about American teenagers and American sort of icons, cars and girls and Coca-Cola and that whole thing. And he put it to a great backbeat, 2 and 4. Chuck was rock and roll's first guitar hero by, the theatrics of the Duck Walk, all of that stuff. Jimi Hendrix owes a great debt to Chuck Berry. And he was a self-contained artist as a writer, as a guitarist, instrumentalist. Chuck Berry was kind of the first guy to do all of that. So when you talk about singer-songwriter, you can go back to Chuck. Guitar hero, you go back to Chuck. And his lyrics and the way that he put together songs, they went all the way into the Beatles and bands like that. Definitely wore his influence. And so that's why I'm paying homage to the late, great, mighty Chuck Berry today. He died last March, and so he's been gone a year. And so I can't say enough about Chuck Berry and his importance to the music that we all profess to love. It comes back to Chuck as one of the all-time greats. And so this is a good place to start as any. It's his greatest hits, or you can call it Chuck Berry's history of rock and roll. It's all right here. So today's Daily Record, Chuck Berry's greatest hits. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, get the word out about Daily Records. Chugging along, giving you a record every day, a new one. And also be sure to check out my regular channel, Tommy Burton's VC channel. I go into more depth and detail on there with records. And so I appreciate everyone who watches and takes time to interact. I thank you so very much. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.